Welcome, everyone, to Healthcare Leadership Live. I am your host, Mike Lyons, an HR service provider focused on healthcare. And I am absolutely thrilled that you're joining me here today. Whether you're tuning in to the podcast or joining the live stream, you're in the right place. If you are a leader of a small or growing healthcare business and you're hungry for real actionable tips to propel your growth and optimize your operations. In today's show, I am going to talk with you about leadership mindset. Now, this is a topic I am incredibly passionate about, and I'm excited to help talk about it today and help guide you through it because I think that this unlocks everything and it can unlock so much success for you in your life. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and dive in. Now, first, before we get going, the show is always sponsored by Seasoned Advice HR Consulting, where I help small and medium sized healthcare businesses retain employees better and get better results from your payroll expense. And so today's topic here is leadership mindset. And I've been a student of this my entire life. It's something that I am so passionate about sharing with you. And I'm just going to jump right into tips here. The first thing that I want to share with you is that mindset is really the biggest determinant of your success or failure. I truly believe this. How you look at the world and the way that you view the circumstances in front of you is going to make the difference between you having a successful day and a successful life or a crappy day and a very disappointing life with disappointing outcomes. Whether you think you're going to succeed or not, you're probably right. If you think you're going to fail, that's probably what's going to happen. If you think that you can get this done, if you think that you can win, then it is very, very likely to happen. And so getting your mindset right is the first lesson here today. And the truth is, we all have a bias for negativity. It's very easy for us to think about negative things that could happen. It's very easy for us to remember negative things that have happened, and therefore those memories affect the way we look at the future. And so this negativity bias is going to color everything that you undertake, right? It's going to be around you all the time. And so getting rid of this negativity bias and being aware of it, first of all, but minimizing its impact, because you can never really get rid of it, is a theme that I'm going to talk about through this whole show. The truth is that you are capable of so much more than you realize. The truth is that whatever is in your mind right now is probably just a fraction of what you're capable of doing. And so getting that mindset right is so key. How you interpret the things that happen to you is really what determines your mindset. It's not what happens, it's how you interpret it. It's how you look at it. And so are you going to look at it from a victim standpoint, or are you going to look at it from the possibility of what could happen or how you can help shape and shift the things that have happened, right? Because you can't control what's outside of you, but you can control your own reaction. You can choose to have a different reaction and a different interpretation. And the great thing is, I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but the great thing is that you don't have to trick yourself or lie to yourself or say some weird affirmation lie. There are real honest truths that are authentic that you can utilize to get your mindset in a good spot. And so that's number one. That is the number one thing to know, and the number one thing to think about is put mindset foremost in your life. And a lot of things I'm going to talk about are things that you should be waking up in the morning and doing. Start your day with things that will get your mindset on the right path so that the rest of your day can be successful. So make this a commitment that you're going to make to yourself, because that's what it takes. That's what it takes to combat that negativity bias every day. And the last thing I want to say about this mindset here is, so many of us are thinking about the negative. So many of us are thinking about what could go wrong. And I'm no different. I'm on this path. I haven't figured it out. I'm not a guru up on top of the mountain who knows all. I am in here with you all. working on my own mindset and working on the way that I look at the world so that every day I can show up my best. And so every day I'm out here trying to combat the negative thoughts that I've got, right? So a lot of times that mindset that you have is telling you that something isn't going to work or that you're not good enough or it's time to give up. And so that's because all you can see is the negative outcome. You can see the worst possible outcome, or you can only see how failure is going to happen. And you can see that really vividly because of the negativity bias. But what we failed to do is we failed to look at what could go right. We failed to think about the best possible. We failed to close our eyes and visualize the ways that things could work out in our favor. And I'll tell you right now that the things working out in your favor, or the likelihood that something is going to work out in your favor, is much more significant, much more impactful, much more likely than the likelihood that that worst case scenario is going to happen or that failure is going to happen. And so something good is going to come out of this. Even if it's a failure or a miss and you learn from it and you reiterate and you move on, that is almost the worst possible. Okay. And so I want you to mentally realize, I want you to realize that the best possible outcome is very realistic. It is at least as likely, if not way more likely, than the negative outcomes. So why not if you're going to assume something, assume the best possible outcome or assume a good outcome. Assume that you're going to be on a good path. And so keep that mindset. That's number one, mindset, the importance of mindset and the negativity bias. You've got to be aware of that. You got to combat that. So getting into specific tips here. Number one is gratitude. You need to cultivate a sense and a practice of gratitude every day. Every day. I want you to think of something that you're grateful for. And I think it's helpful to practice this in different ways. Meaning, what's something from the distant past that you're grateful for? What's something big in your life that you're grateful for? What's something little that you're grateful for? Something small, something as simple as, hey, it's a beautiful sunny day today, and I love that. Something as simple as, you know what, it rained yesterday, and I'm so grateful for that. Something even more simple and more elemental than that. Man, I'm so glad that there's oxygen in the air that I get to breathe and it keeps me alive. I love that. That is how basic I want you to get with some of your gratitude because it's so easy to be grateful for the obvious stuff. It's so easy to say, oh man, I'm so grateful that I got this huge, check in the mail. You know what? Everyone can be grateful for the money or the easy stuff like that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be grateful for that. But what I'm saying is you need to have a diversity of things that you're grateful for, the little and the big. Things from the past, things from yesterday. How about things from right now? Things from right now. I'm so grateful that I have this desk here supporting my computer and all my stuff, and I have all this room to put things. And yeah, maybe it's messy, maybe it's cluttered, maybe I'm frustrated that I have all this stuff. Get away from that frustrating. Get away from the thoughts that say I'm angry and that I'm not utilizing my space well. Show gratitude for the moment. Show gratitude because you know what? It's impossible. It's impossible to be anxious and frustrated while you're being grateful. It's been scientifically proven. You literally can't have negative emotions while you're being grateful. So cultivate gratitude. Practice it within yourself. And I want you to also practice gratitude for things external. Everything I've been talking about here in the last minute or so has been external things, weather, desk, money. Practice gratitude for yourself. Man, I'm really grateful that I put the effort into getting that education. I'm so grateful that I took time to take care of myself and I had a nice sleep ritual and I slept really well last night. I'm so grateful for that. Be grateful for yourself and the things that you do. Make this a practice. And then the next thing about gratitude is not only do I want you to be grateful for what's outside of yourself, those random things that happen, not only do I want you to be grateful for what's within yourself, but I want you as leaders to be grateful for others and the things that others do. Could be your kids, could be your employees, your staff, could be your boss, it could be your customers, your patients. Be grateful and express that gratitude to them. And leaders have to cultivate gratitude. Having an attitude of gratitude for leaders is key to employee retention. I talk about this a lot in my employee retention training and information, but I want you to cultivate gratitude and express it to other people. It's good practice because it helps you be more grateful for yourself, but having gratitude for others and expressing it will unlock a lot of good things in your life, in your relationships, at work, and at home. And so practice expressing gratitude. Next, what's something specific you can do? The next specific thing you can do is show encouragement. Encouragement is, man, it is so powerful. I want to tell you a little story about encouragement. I volunteered at the Austin Marathon several years ago. I was at a water station. We were handing out water to people passing by. They were running the marathon. And I think I was at mile 25, and that's the second to last mile in the marathon. Well, at mile 25, people are tired. They are whipped. They want to quit. They're not happy. Their muscles are not happy. Their legs are not happy. They're regretting their life choices maybe at that point. And what those people need is not just water, but they needed encouragement. And so what I learned to do pretty quickly was to say, keep it up. Don't quit. Keep going. You got this. I love your effort. Finish strong. There were many different things that I said, and I would express this stuff as people would go by. I would hand them a water and I would say, you're looking good. Keep it up. Don't give up. And if someone looked like they were freaking beat down, don't quit. You got this. You're almost done. You're going to feel so good when this is done. I became quite frankly emotional after giving people so much encouragement over and over again. And I began to realize that there is something powerful about giving other people encouragement. Sharing words of affirmation and encouragement is so incredibly valuable to the other person, but also to you. It really helps to fill your emotional cup. And I know it sounds weird, but I truly believe that part of why we're put here on earth is to be supportive for each other. And I think it's a miracle of life that giving encouragement to someone else actually puts more energy back into you than you're actually putting out. And so practice encouragement of others, your employees, your family members, but also encourage yourself. How often do we encourage ourselves? Hardly ever. And the great Mel Robbins in her book, The High Five Habit, she talks about this. She talks about giving yourself a high five every day in the mirror. And it sounds so corny. If you think that sounds corny, then just pause and realize that you maybe encourage other people, but who's encouraging you? Do you encourage yourself? Do you ever really encourage yourself? It's very rare, unfortunately. It's very rare to get encouragement in this world, especially if you don't have family or people close in your life. It's very rare to get that. And even if you do, it's very rare to get overt encouragement. And we spend a lot of time discouraging ourselves and saying how things aren't going to work out and things aren't going to happen. And so we need to be our biggest cheerleader. I want you to be your biggest cheerleader in life. I want you to give yourself a high five. I want you to tell yourself, I love you. I believe in you. Something amazing is about to happen. That's straight out of Mel's book. check the book out, High Five Habit. I want you to be your biggest cheerleader. When something goes wrong, when you have a negative thought, I want you to tell yourself, you know what? I'm not thinking about that. I can do this. I can do this. And so encourage yourself. But practice, maybe it's easier for you to start with encouraging others. And so if you have an employee, if you have a team, hey, we got this. You know what? You can do this. You've got a new employee. You know what? You're doing great. You're doing so well, and I can tell that you're gonna get this. You're doing just right. I love the effort that you're putting in, and you're learning right on the right pace here. There is a real lack of that in leadership, and if you are a person who can do this, then you immediately launch yourself into the top 10% of managers. Believe me, I've seen so many managers in my life, and the vast majority of them don't do it. They don't do this very well. And so demonstrate encouragement, make yourself one of the best leaders. And also remember to encourage yourself. So important. Next, I want to talk about affirmations. Now, if you grew up when I did, which was 80s and 90s, you probably remember this character on Saturday Night Live who would totally do this lame mock affirmation thing for himself, right? I think Stuart Smalley was the character. I'm good enough and I'm smart enough and people like me. And it became a point of humor that really it kind of stuck in popular culture, right? And people, I think, began to poo-poo affirmations. But I want to tell you that affirmations are incredibly powerful. But I'm not really into affirmations that are not true. You know, if it's not true that you're a millionaire, don't tell yourself I'm a millionaire. Okay? Don't tell yourself, I drive a Porsche and a Maserati. If you don't drive a Porsche and a Maserati, there are plenty of true affirmations out there that will be accurate, that will land for you, that we don't tell ourselves every day. I want you to focus on the true affirmations, right? Here's one. I'm capable of handling this. I have handled things like this before and I can do it again. Or I I know what it takes. I have what it takes to be successful at this. And believe me, a little side tangent here. So many people are faking it till they make it. So many people are acting like they have it together and they don't. We are all figuring it out as we go along. And so if you feel like you're faking or you're not good enough, believe me, everyone is doing it. We're all figuring things out as we go along. We're learning. And it's good to stretch yourself. And the truth is, you are capable of whatever it is that you're taking on. You're capable of doing it. There's a timeline that you are on where you will be successful. And so it is not false. It's not a false affirmation to say, I can do this. I'm capable of doing this. And so I want you to remember that there are truths about yourself that you need to remind yourself of every day. I'm a good person. I'm a good friend. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of respect. I deserve to have my opinions heard. I deserve to voice my thoughts, right? And those are all true things. Those are affirmations because I want you to remind yourself of the truths that you tend to forget. We all have things that we tend to forget. Maybe as a leader, we tend to forget that we're capable. Maybe as a leader, we tend to forget our value. And so I don't want you to forget your value. When you show up to work every day knowing your value and knowing your capability, then you're not going to show up as a narcissist, as a jerk, or as a coward. When you know your value, you're going to show up to work confident and empathetic and powerful and collaborative. And so I want you to remind yourself of the power that you have every day. Whatever it is that is stuck in your head, these negative stories that you tell yourself, I want you to write down the opposite of that. If there's a negative story that you're telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to have a relationship or whatever, it could be work related or personal. I want you to write down 2 or 3 true statements about you that combat that thought. And I want those to be your daily mantras. Okay. And I want you to have 10, 20 daily affirmations. I want you to have 1 to 3 affirmations that are true. I'm a good person. I deserve to be heard. And I'm worthy of respect. Okay. It can be whatever you want. Whatever combats that negative story in your head that plays. We all have a story in our head that plays over and over again, and it goes way back in our lives. And I can't tell you what that is for you, and maybe you don't know. Maybe therapy would help you out, but you need to uncover what is that story that keeps playing for you. For me, one of those stories is I have to do it all by myself. I have to do it all by myself. And so maybe a true affirmation for me is I can ask for help or help is available. That could be, or I'll be okay doing this by myself. You've got to understand what the story is that you're telling yourself and combat that. By the way, if you are watching this live, I'd love to have a comment here on LinkedIn, and I'll respond to comments right here live on the show. And if you're listening on the recorded podcast, shoot me an email at mike@seasoned-advice.com. I'd love to hear from you. Message me through my website, which is seasoned-advice.com. Would love to hear from you if you have a question, if you have a thought. We'll totally respond to that here live or after the fact. So affirmations, so powerful to combat that negativity, those negative voices, negative stories in your head. Next, I want you to practice visualization. Visualization. I want you to see the outcome that you want. Stephen Covey talked about this. He said, begin with the end in mind. And what that means is visualize the result you want. What is the result that I want? I want employees to stick around. I want great new hires that love what they do. I want a certain car. I want to be confident. I want to be able to stand up on stage and deliver an amazing speech. Whatever that outcome is. I want checks rolling in once a week for a certain dollar. Visualize. I want you to visualize that it's possible. Picture it in your mind. Picture yourself doing the things that it's going to take to get that. So create a vision. Create a vision. This is key to mindset. This is key for your mindset. If you can't visualize something happening, it's going to be hard for it to be a success. You know, you probably know someone in your life who is really successful and they had a parent or a family member who demonstrated that same behavior. Maybe they own a car dealership, their parent owned a car dealership. Maybe they own a business and they came from a line of business owners and entrepreneurs. Maybe they're a doctor and their mom was a doctor. You may say, oh, that's nepotism, somehow someone pulled strings for them. That may be, but what I think is way more true in that situation was they saw their parent doing the thing. They had a vision. They were able to see it because that person was right there in their house. You can replicate that by visualizing what it's going to take to get there. Learn what it's going to take to get there and visualize yourself doing it. Visualize yourself getting the outcome. If you're a manager in a healthcare clinic, visualize yourself managing a whole team of managers and that they are there helping you, that they are there listening and engaged, that they're supporting you. If you have a small clinic and just a couple of employees, visualize your team being enthusiastic, loving their jobs, helping the doctor, greeting the patients. Visualize this outcome that you want, and it will increase your motivation to get it, and it will increase your ability to make that happen. Now, this is not woo-woo. This is not manifestation. I'm not talking about The Secret or aligning the quantum quarks and the whatever. That's not what this is about. I don't believe in that in a strict sense. I don't believe in that. But what I do believe in is visualization can help make this come true. And not visualizing is going to make it tough. I want you to have a vision board. What are the things you want in your life? Do you want to travel? Do you want a certain car? Do you want a house? Do you want a partner? Do you want a certain number in your bank account? What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your health to look like? Create a vision board so you can literally see. I'm looking at mine right now. It's got things on there that it helps me to see. It reminds me of what I'm working towards and where I want to get. And it helps keep me on track, right? And so we're talking about mindset here today. How can you have the right mindset if you can't visualize where you're going? So I want you to have a visual of that. Create that for yourself. I did mine in Canva. I think it's super fun to create one in Canva. You can grab pictures of all over. I've got a cruise, I've got a car, I've got a picture of Paris, one of my favorite cities in the world. And I have some other images of things that I want to remember to keep me focused on what I want in life. And I want the other thing about visualization is I want you to stop thinking about what you don't have. I want you to stop thinking about what you're afraid of. And I want you to stop visualizing what could go wrong. That's not helping you. That's not helping you. It's just creating a cycle. It's making it more likely that those things are going to happen. And so I want you to stop thinking about it. You know, I was a motorcycle rider back in the early 2000s, had a motorcycle, it was great fun. And the advice I got from a good friend of mine who was a motorcyclist was it's really hard to avoid something when you're looking at it, right? So you're on a motorcycle and you're looking at that obstacle that you don't want to hit. Don't look at it because you're going to tend to go towards it, right? Because when you're on a motorcycle, you can only really go towards what you're looking at, right? If you're going to hit a golf ball, you don't want to be looking up at the birds. You need to be looking at that ball. If you're on a motorcycle, you want to be going down a little curve in the road, focus on where you're going. Don't be looking at the things that are distractions, that the fears and the negativity. Don't look at. So there's negative visualization as well that I want you to avoid. Practice visualization. And again, I talked about this at the beginning of this show. Make this a daily habit. Spend a minute every day thinking about, man, today's going to be awesome. This is what I'm going to do. Spend a minute thinking about long-term goals that you have. I'm going to have this car. We're going to go on a vacation. I'm going to have plenty of money to do the things that I want to do and need to do. And I'm going to have flexibility. I'm going to be able to travel. I'm going to work from wherever, whatever the case may be. Visualize that. Visualize the person you want to be. Maybe not just your bank account, your car, and stuff like that. What kind of person am I going to be? Who am I going to be today? How am I going to visualize that? Am I going to be a positive, high energy person today? Am I going to be social and interactive? Or am I going to be something else that we're not going to be thinking of? I want you to visualize the person you want to be and the things that you want. Next tip for having a good mindset is you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of yourself and make yourself a priority. Do things that feed your soul, feed your energy. If you need a certain amount of rest to be present, get the rest. Don't deprive yourself of the rest. And that's above everything else. If that's your number one, then skip the workout, get the rest. Skip the TV show, get the rest. Skip hanging out with someone else, get the rest. If that's your number one thing, get the sleep you need. And sleep is super important. I have another podcast where I talked with a couple of health coaches. We talk about sleep because sleep is the cornerstone of health. But maybe it's not sleep for you. Maybe it's something else. For me, it's music. Got to have some singing time. For me, singing it just elevates me. It elevates me and I've got to do it on a regular basis. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if there's something about me, right? There's something about you. Maybe it's moving. Maybe it's walking. Maybe it's being with other people. It just lifts you up, right? It going to social events. It just raises your energy. It raises your mindset. And so don't ask why. Just accept that that's who you are and do that thing. Make sure that it's really feeding you. Okay. So, nature, exercise, rest, music, art, creating, gardening. Honestly, most of the things that I hear people that feed themselves, they kind of fall into one of those things. I'm not sure what else I've heard people say that really feeds them. Maybe doing yoga, but that's back into the movement. But those are the things that generate energy and positivity in people. I've never heard someone say, "Man, I just love to go out and shoot guns, and that just gives me energy." Maybe there's someone out there that's true. And if you like to do that, then great, go for it. I'd love to hear from you if that's you. In fact, I'd love to hear from you about whatever it is that feeds you. If it's yoga, let me know. If it's going for a walk, let me know. If it's playing with your dog, that's great. That's a combination of movement and outside activity. Pets are great. Dogs are great for that. I think that's one of the things that are great about dogs is they foster that physical movement and outside time. So a dog is a great mindset enhancer, I think. And it gives you a place to put encouragement and gratitude and love. So I don't know. I guess this is a little bit of a side message for dogs here, but you've got to do something fun. Anyway, side note here. My business here is Seasoned Advice HR Consulting. I help businesses retain better people and get more out of the people that they have and have better, more enjoyable work lives. So if you want work to be fun, if you want to come to work and feel like it's engaging and fun and productive, by the way, you're going to spend 8+ hours a day there. Maybe you should make it fun. Maybe you should make it enjoyable. Contact me and I'll put a link into this show notes to help you reach out to me. And who knows? I think I can help you out. I think I can help you with that. And by the way, I can reduce your HR risk while I'm doing it. Last tip for mindset. Last tip is things are going to happen. Your negative mindset is going to pop back up. Something's going to happen. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to say, "Man, this sucks. This is not going to work." You have to say, I'm not listening to that. Whatever that story is in your head, I'm not listening to that. And by the way, meditation, I didn't mention meditation, but meditation is really, really useful. I really recommend it because the more meditation you do, you can catch those negative thoughts as they pop up. And by the way, if you don't catch those negative thoughts, they'll just suck you in like a rip current, like a whirlpool, and you won't even realize you're in it. So meditate so you can notice the thoughts better. When you notice those negative thoughts, you have to say, "You know what? I'm not listening to that. That's not helping me. And it's probably not true. It's probably not true that I'm going to be a massive failure. It's probably not true that I'm ugly and no one ever wants to be with me. I'm not going to listen to that." So I want you to literally tell yourself, "You know what? I'm not listening to that. Put that off to the side. It's not helping you." And you know what? Even if someone thinks that about you, that you're a loser, what does that do for you? That's not helpful. It doesn't do anything. I want you to focus on what's good with you and where you're going and the good things that are coming to you. Okay. Because I believe that is what is intended for you and for me too. And I want you to say, when that negative thought comes in, that's not true. That is just not true. And then I want you to remind yourself of the truth. You know what? I'm a good person. And I want you to just tell yourself, "You know what? Everyone makes mistakes. And I can fix this. I can fix this." You know what? Several weeks ago, I had something on my calendar for a virtual meeting and I just straight up missed it. Didn't even show up till after the whole meeting was over. And man, I beat myself up after that kind of thing. You know what? It happens all the time. It happens. People miss meetings. People miss meetings, dude. We're all so busy. It happens that you miss a meeting from straight up being sucked into something else. You should not feel bad about that. And so, whatever bad feelings you're having about yourself, I want you to have more forgiveness for yourself. And really, it's not true that you're a loser. It's not true that you can't pay attention. It's not true that you can't keep your schedule straight. You're just a normal person. Okay. Last thing here on when bumps in the road come up, when difficult times come up. David Goggins, the writer and the former Navy SEAL, He wrote this book, Can't Hurt Me. And then another one after that, which is both exceptional books. And he's got TED Talks and everything. Anyway, David Goggins, he has this tool, mental tool that he uses called the cookie jar. And the cookie jar is a mental tool that says, when something negative happens, I am going to pull a cookie out of my cookie jar. And what he means by that is he's going to think about a time when he had a success, when something was hard and he figured it out, or when he crushed something, or when he did something good, or something good happened to him. And it's a reminder that, hey, you know what? I'm a good person. I can do this. There's something good waiting on the other side for me. And that is a powerful mindset hack. That's what I'm going to close on here is have a cookie jar, right? And I want you to literally write it down, actually. I want you to write down the things you've accomplished, right? Yeah, and I bet you could fill a page of things you've accomplished going back to your childhood, to school, college, work life, family, friends. You were there for a friend. You helped someone move, overcame an obstacle. Life was tough at one point. You got through it. You survived. You got some education under your belt. Maybe someone gave you a compliment. Those are things to stick in the cookie jar. I have a few things that people have told me over my life that they have stuck with me. They have, from family members to people I've worked with, where they have said, you know what, you're capable of doing greater things, or you are really good at this thing. That has stuck with me. And those things have made a huge difference. Those are in my cookie jar. Okay. Those are in my cookie jar. And man, I pull those out all the time. Maybe if you're a spiritual person, maybe there's a quote, maybe there's a Bible verse that you like to go to. That can be in your cookie jar. Okay. Maybe there's a quote from a person, from a book that you've read that motivates you. Put that in the cookie jar. Okay. The favorite things, the things you love to do, stick that in there too. I love to sing. You know what? When I'm down, I'm going to get singing out. I'm going to sing. Right. Cookie jar is there for you to pick you up when things are tough. That is the show today. Mindset is so, so key for us as leaders, because let me tell you, you don't need me to tell you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway, that leadership is hard. There's no one there putting cookies in your cookie jar for you. Employees are rarely coming up to you and saying, man, you know what? I really appreciate you as a leader. I have probably had that maybe 5 times in my career where an employee said, you know what? I really appreciate you. That's rare. That's rare for leaders. So leadership is very isolating. And rarely do your fellow managers say, man, you know what? You're a really good manager, right? Because they're trying to get ahead. They don't want to build you up. And they're not trying to be selfish or whatever, but they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about their own problems. They're not thinking about building you up as a leader. And so it's rare. It's rare to get that encouragement as a leader. And so you've got to put these tips on. You've got to take these tips on and make them part of your practice every day, every week, and take care of yourself. Okay. If you think that the kind of advice that I'm giving is helpful, there's a couple things you can do. Number one is you can reach out to me on my website, seasoned-advice.com. Go to the contact page, reach out. Let's have a chat. I'll just chat with you. Maybe we can work together. Maybe not. Maybe I can help you retain your employees. I can put you on my mailing list where I send out roughly weekly information about HR, management, leadership, mindset, all that stuff. You can follow me on TikTok at Seasoned Advice or Instagram at Seasoned Advice. Follow me here on LinkedIn or subscribe to this podcast if you're listening to the podcast. Please connect with me on LinkedIn or any of these platforms. I'm everywhere. I want to be found and I want to find you and I want to connect with you. I hope this has been useful to you. This is Healthcare Leadership Live. I do this because I love to teach. I love sharing expertise and wisdom from either myself or my guests. And so this brings a conclusion to another episode here of Healthcare Leadership Live. I do hope you've gotten some insight that you can implement in your own life to help you be a better leader, be a better healthcare leader. The journey of leadership is a continuous one, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. Keep an eye out for future episodes of the show, and I will continue to bring you conversations and content with industry leaders and actionable advice and tactics to help your business achieve its full potential. Thanks for tuning in. Now go out there and lead with confidence.